Look all the way to the end, because one of these AI hacks will completely change how you work, and most people miss it. You're losing hours every single day doing things AI could finish in minutes. And the worst part is, you probably think you're already using it. Well, you're not. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn AI productivity hacks that actually work in real life. Not theory, not hype. And one of them will feel so unfair, it almost feels like cheating. Stay with me, because the last one ties everything together in a way that most people never realize. Cut to fast montage of tabs opening, notifications popping, someone switching between apps, subtitles flash keywords, distracted, overloaded, slow. Here's what's really happening. You sit down to work, you open AI, you type something basic, and you get a decent answer. Not bad, not amazing, just usable. So you move on. That's where you lose. Because the gap between average output and elite output with AI is massive. And it comes down to one thing you're probably not doing. Hold that thought, because we're coming back to it in a minute. Quick zoom, subtle bass hit. First shift, stop asking AI like you're asking a question. Start directing it like you're giving instructions to a highly skilled assistant. When you say something vague, you get vague results. When you say something specific, structured, and intentional, everything changes. Watch this. Instead of typing a lazy request, you layer context, tone, constraints, and outcome. Suddenly, the output isn't just better, it's usable instantly. Subtitles, punch in. Context, tone, outcome, jump cut. Screen recording style visual of messy output transforming into clean, structured content. Now, here's the part that saves you ridiculous amounts of time. When you get a great result, don't move on. Capture it. Save the exact prompt. Build your own personal system. Because the moment you reuse something that already worked, you skip the hardest part, which is figuring out what to ask. You're no longer experimenting, you're executing. Subtle sound effect, text overlay, reuse equals speed. Quick pattern interrupt, music dips. But here's where things get interesting. Most people think AI is a tool. That's wrong. The people who get insane results use it as a thinking partner that changes everything. Instead of asking for answers, you ask for friction. You ask it to challenge your ideas, to disagree with you, to point out blind spots. Suddenly, you're not just working faster, you're thinking better. And better thinking saves more time than anything else. Cut to visual of two paths diverging. One labeled fast but wrong, the other smart and fast. Now let's talk about something practical that you can use today. Every repetitive task in your life is a signal. If you've done something twice, AI should be involved. Emails, summaries, notes, outlines, responses, planning, drop raw input in, ask for structured output, and move on. Imagine turning a chaotic wall of text into a clean action plan in seconds. That's not convenience, that's leverage. Quick zoom heartbeat sound. Remember that thing I told you to hold earlier? The reason most people never get real results with AI? Here it is. They treat it like a one-shot interaction. They ask once, get an answer, and stop. That's like hiring a world-class assistant and only speaking to them for 5 seconds. The real power comes from iteration. You refine, you reshape, you push the output closer to what you actually want. Each follow-up makes it sharper, clearer, more useful. Subtitles flash iterate, refine, improve, jump cut, faster pacing. Now let's unlock speed, because this is where things start compounding. Typing is slow, thinking out loud is fast. Use your voice. Dump everything in one go. Don't filter, don't organize, just get it out. Then let AI clean it up. What used to take you 30 minutes of structured thinking now takes 3 minutes of raw input. That's a 10-time shift in how fast you move from idea to execution. Sound effect, whoosh transition, re-engagement moment. Music changes tone, slightly more intense. Here's the hack that feels like cheating. Instead of using AI manually every time, you create small, repeatable systems, tiny workflows that take input and consistently produce output. You're not starting from scratch anymore. You're triggering a process. This is where casual users separate from power users. One is asking, the other is deploying. Subtitles flash, systems greater than effort. Cut to visual of buttons being pressed, outputs appearing instantly. Now combine that with batching. Every time you switch tasks, your brain pays a cost. that cost adds up fast. So you group similar tasks together and let AI amplify that block of focus. 10 emails at once, 10 ideas at once, 10 summaries at once. You enter flow once, and you stay there. Productivity isn't just speed, it's momentum. Quick cut, zoom in. Now we level up again. This is where most people stop, and this is exactly why they never get the full benefit. The quality of what you get from AI is directly tied to the quality of what you give it. If your input is shallow, your output will be shallow. If your input is rich, detailed, and specific, your output becomes powerful. Feed it context like you would a human expert, goals, constraints, audience, examples. Watch how dramatically the results improve. Subtitles highlight input defines output. Jump cut, visual of blurry image sharpening into high definition. Let's talk about learning, because this is one of the most underrated uses. Instead of passively consuming information, you turn learning into a conversation. You ask for simplification, then examples, then tests. You compress hours of confusion into minutes of clarity. You're not just absorbing information, you're interacting with it. That speeds up everything. Quick sound cue, re-engagement moment, camera zoom, slight pause. What if AI could actually remove the hardest part of productivity, which isn't doing the work, it's deciding what to do? Cut. You dump everything you need to do into AI tasks, ideas, obligations, everything. Then you ask it to prioritize based on impact and urgency. Then you ask it to turn that into a realistic plan. Suddenly, you're not guessing anymore. You're executing a clear path. Decision fatigue disappears. And when decision fatigue disappears, your energy goes where it matters. Subtitles flash. Clarity equals speed. Jump cut. Now, let's address something that silently destroys productivity. Overthinking, you hesitate, you second guess, you delay. AI can break that loop instantly. You ask it what actually matters, what the highest leverage move is, what a top performer would do in your situation. You get clarity fast, and clarity leads to action. Sound effect, quick snap. Now, you might be thinking this all sounds good, but does it actually make a real difference in your day? So let's look at a real scenario. Before using these methods, a typical workflow looks like this. You spend hours writing, then more time editing, then more time planning what comes next. It's fragmented, slow, and mentally exhausting. After applying these AI strategies, the same work compresses dramatically. What used to take hours now takes a fraction of that time, and the quality often improves because you're refining instead of struggling. Visual comparison appears, time shrinking rapidly. That's not just productivity, that's leverage. And leverage is how you scale your output without burning out. Quick zoom, music builds. Now here's the deeper insight that ties all of this together, and this is the part most people never fully understand. AI is not here to do your work for you. It's here to remove friction from your workflow. The friction of starting, the friction of organizing, the friction of deciding, the friction of refining. When friction disappears, your natural ability takes over. You think clearer, you move faster, you create better. Subtitles flash, remove friction, cut to calm but focused visual, steady pacing. And when you combine everything you've seen so far, something interesting happens. You stop feeling overwhelmed. Work stops feeling heavy. You start moving through tasks with momentum, clarity, and speed. Not because you're working harder, but because you're working with leverage. Quick pause, then shift. Before we wrap this up, I want you to do something. Drop a comment with the one task you waste the most time on, because I'm curious what you're dealing with, and it might shape what I break down next. Music builds slightly. Now let's close the loop from the beginning. That one mistake that stops most people from ever unlocking real results with AI is treating it like a simple tool instead of a dynamic system. The moment you shift from asking once to building processes, from accepting outputs to refining them, from working alone to thinking with AI, everything changes. Final zoom, subtitles highlight, think different. Here's the payoff. If you apply even a few of these strategies, you'll notice the difference immediately. You'll move faster, think clearer, and finish more in less time. If you apply all of them consistently, you fundamentally change how you work, how you learn, and how you execute. Quick cut to black. And once that happens, going back feels impossible.